friendship changes its meaning.
Tell me no one said that out loud.
Confirmation. Oh, truly. Statement. This comment, of course, caused a civil war between the Guvandi collective. Answer. Yes, Master. Such... Query. Answer. It is something I heard of. Still, somehow it seemed applicable. Answer. In the case of Praven Prime, the Civil War, as I understand it, that would be best. As an added burden, the resources needed to invest... Besides, Master, quite frankly, the Guvandi and Elzing needed a good war. They were races that relied more. Also, the result of the war will be that the drastically reduced... Answer. The Republic stands to gain. The Republic will be able to supply such... Of course, such aid would only come 4 or 5 years after the war would... Answer. You see, part of the reason an assassin droid is so effective is because it is a... Statement. Oh, do shut up. Anyway, as I was saying, droids tend... Mockery. Droid, fetch this. Part of the love of my function comes when the furnishings pull out. My identity as an assassin droid was unknown for quite some time. I'm sure you've already heard more than enough about it. Statement. This story may be somewhat There is a faction of meatbags called the Sith. They want what any rational meatbag would want. The power to assassinate anyone they... In a startling turn of events, the Sith declared war on the Republic. The Republic wasn't going to stand for it, so they went to war right back. Answer. Oh, who knows, Master? It is evident that the Sith would very much like to assassinate all the Jedi, which is somewhat the equivalent of cultural suicide since some Sith are Jedi or were Jedi. It is much like the circumstance I find myself in now. How do you kill such an integral part of yourself? The answer, of course, is that you keep firing. Recitation. For example, on Praven...
Tell...
And you... Answer. I do not know. Theory. I can only assume that some critical moment is approaching where stealth and... Observation. It is clear, however, that they have been placed... State... Answer. My feelings on the matter are something that I feel I must put in proper context, in a way that even a meatbag such as yourself could easily comprehend. Theory. Imagine, if you will, that you are unique, the pinnacle of an exiled, cast-out Jedi who can't even use the Force. Imagine that no one has sunk lower than you, that you are truly... Continuation. Now that you have that image, imagine they make the clones talk differently, rob you of any shred of personality, and take your Jedi code and adjust. They even change your pigmentation to a rather poor shade of Durasteel, rather than the proper rusty red that inspires fear in targets. And of course, they refer to meatbags as organics. Unacceptable. Clarification. Anger would be an understatement for the heap. Statement. Part of the indignity of all these the more people throughout the galaxy recognize me as an illegal assassination device, the more difficulty I will have in carrying out my mission.
Status active. Ready.
Acknowledgement.
So you've returned. Really? That's great news. Not until I have a better idea of what we'd be getting into. Just why exactly should we deal with... I just don't feel comfortable suggesting we deal... Right, but you don't care about... I have a feeling the Telosian Council will make an agreement regardless of Vogus Bright. Here's the reward for this information. Now I've got to send this information... What is it? So you've returned.
What do you mean, Pazak? What, again? This is Ronto Scrag. What house rule says I have to go first? Yeah, well, I'm still not convinced you aren't cheating.
Warning, if you draw another ±1 card, I will enact assassination protocols.
This droid is cleaning me out. Sure, but I don't have any more credits to bet.
HK-47, I did not realize that you still existed, especially now that the other generations are activated.
Query, what is it you wish, Fat One?
I see that your recent reassembly has not affected your behavior core, nor your attitude.
Statement. If I require a similar diagnostic in the future, I shall seek out the Iridonian.
Oh, I do not think so. There is much work that needs to be done first.
Query, have we had the misfortune to meet before? I believe I would have remembered one as large as you.
Oh, yes, we have met. And I have not finished with you yet.
Statement. My memory core has suffered some damage. Statement. Yet somehow, a gap in my circuits makes me feel as if I should remember you. Statement. This is all the more important since during my routine inspection of all potential escape routes from this vessel, I made an interesting discovery. Observation. The navicomputer is voice-locked. As a consequence, you are now responsible for course corrections and astrogation. Statement. That is indeed a great burden. It also raises many questions. Query. Why would someone lock the navicomputer? Answer. Presumably to hide where one has been. Statement. I believe you've been somewhere. Somewhere you wish to keep hidden.
my life for your... I felt you. I serve my master. My master was aware of a disturbance in the Force. There is little my master does not know. You cannot, even if I could, Legion. If I bring you before my master, it would be as if you will meet my master. And when you stand before him, there's a greatness in you. And if my master does not understand you, cannot see you, then perhaps there is hope. There is much I see my master cannot. I fear my people spend their lives seeing the galaxy, the energy streaming off. They're gone. I will answer what I'm not familiar with the place you speak of. My master is, but there are others who may move more freely. There are many factions within the Sith, all seeking to take what little remains in the wake of the Jedi Civil War. Where one moves, it is not always known to the others. They believe you are the last of the Jedi, and their hatred of the Jedi unite. I will... My master did not cause the end of the... There are many factions within the Sith, all seeking to take what little remains in the... Where one moves, it is not always known to the others. They believe you are the last of the Jedi, and their hatred of the Jedi unite. I will answer what... My people once had the power to perceive. That sight may manifest itself in many... My sight has been damaged. What I have taught you... My master, he has crippled me. I have seen the galaxy as... It is not something I can explain. For the word... I will...
Query, is there someone... Statement, Master, assassination is my prime... Statement, oh, very well, Master. No doubt you... Or perhaps you need the deck of your freighter scrubbed. My circuits are abuzz with anticipation of what your next task... Statement, huh? Statement. Statement. Master, I am no... Very well. Ask your questions, if you feel the need. Query. Indeed, Statement. Yes, Statement. I suppose so, Master. But I would need... It seems to me that we will have to accept the T3's astrogation. Statement. Theory. Well, Master, I believe I was shot repeatedly. Once reduced... Statement. I am an extremely valuable piece of equipment after all, Master. Statement. That is indeed unfortunate. I would be most distressed if you were to shoot me, attack me, or dismember me. Statement. Statement. State. Answer. No, Master. This new Sith threat fights differently than the ones I was familiar with. Answer. No, Master. The Sith had many hidden base... Theory. It is possible that the consolation, but I would not worry, Master. I imagine it will not be long. Twi'lek metaphor. Jonta bosi likita masisoringada untamiasa grawino rutu. Query. Master, excuse me. Query. May I? Observation. Indeed, it seems to be modeled after my vocabulator with some modification. Observation. Master, I do believe this device serves multiple functions, including tracking your position for any HK units in the vicinity. Confirmation. Of course, we would need to find 3 separate HK squads and use this device in order to target their base. Answer. Master, the nature of the signal from the sonic, it does not please me any more than it does you, but what are the primary traits? Statement. Statement. Master, you wound me. It is true that I once possessed many more protocols and upgrades, but time and I am afraid that I have a rather long history of memory problems. Still, you will find me a valuable asset, Master.
Yes, General? Sorry, General, I'm something else.
Yes. Have you? Very well. I confess its nature eludes. It seems that at times of stress and pain, when battle is upon us, I suspect our minds are it seems the force flows easily between us. A powerful technique indeed. When battle is upon us, I suspect our... It seems the force... Very well. She did nothing to you. She has forced this upon you. Close your... Close... Feel this, the welding of the droid as it goes about its work. Now, hear the rumble of hyperspace. Ignore distractions and the breathing of the blinded one as she meditates in the dark. Now, listen.
As my feet walk from the ashes of Catan, I shall not fear.
You are strong indeed. What you heard were surface thoughts only. That is not the real question you should ask. Is such because to listen to the thoughts of another is much like attempting to see the universe only with your eyes. It is equally limiting. Now leave me be. Yes. Very. When I spoke of sight before, there is a similar hand. The greatest wielders of the Force. Some wielders of the Force have mastered piloting, others the ability to fix and repair. One's ability to understand the human body and its ailments, for example. And others have mastered the more subtle work of politics, persuasion, when such skills are honed. My warning to you is this. Do not rely on your companions to compensate for your weak. What skill would you say is your greatest? And what skill would you say is your greatest? Then my task before you is this. Take your greatest weakness, devote effort to it, strengthen it, and I will show you how it shall strengthen your power in the Force. As you learn and train and test yourself, when you devote some of that training to your weakest skill, ask, does it matter? Of course it does. Such title. Perhaps I am neither, and I hold both as what they are, pieces of a whole. What do you wish to hear? That I once believed in the code of the Jedi? That I felt the call of the... That for every good work that I did, I brought equal harm upon the galaxy? That perhaps what the greatest of the Sith Lords knew of evil they learned from me? What would it matter now? There is only so much comfort in knowing such things, and it is not who I am now. There are dark places in the galaxy where few tread, ancient centers of learning, of knowledge, But I did not walk alone. To be united by hatred is a fragile alliance at best. But my will was not law. There were disagreements, ambition, and hunger for power. There are techniques within the Force against which there is no defense. I was cast down, stripped of my power, exiled. I suffered indignities and fell into darkness. Take what strength you may steal from me, that is all I need be to you. In you all my hopes rest, for the future, for the Force. If it means so much to you, then this I swear to you upon my life, upon our lives, that when your training is complete, I will answer everything. There shall be no more shadows between us, only truth that exists between master and apprentice. Ask, and I... The beast is a lesson in strength. Learn. Because he is life at its... And he represents what happens when civilization comes to primates. The beast's strength is prodigious, and you can learn much from it, or draw upon it. His life can... Speak with him, discern his... Ask. Atris herself is not as familiar to me as perhaps she should be. Yet I feel I know her, yes. Because Atris's path is one I walked long ago, and it is a chapter of my life that has been read and closed. She has taken the first steps, I think. We shall see. Surely you felt the righteous anger, the spoken judgments, the lack of forgiveness. I was a historian once, gathering the relics of the Jedi, learning the ancient mysteries. Always there were more questions. One quickly learns that the Jedi Code does not give all the answers. If you are to truly understand, then you will need the contrast, not adherence to a single idea. That is why Atris and the others blamed me, sentenced me. They believed me responsible for Revan's fall. You have already asked much. I do not wish to speak of this any longer. Ask, and I will answer. I misspoke before, and I do not wish to choose. Ignorance, and perhaps they do not remember. Am I? Then perhaps you should know. There are techniques in the Force, and on the worlds where we have encountered these Jedi, there is, as I said, it is of no consequence. No, but if I did, you would never know. So my word, but perhaps you will understand this, that perhaps it is important that your judgments, whether... I did not ask you to trust me, only that you listen to what I have to tell you. Ask. Anne? Did he? And what do you make? The Mandalorians were right to respect. The Jedi are gone. Vanished. Now, an entire planet of Force sensitives. I fear you are right. And I fear... But there is little to be done about it now. I know of them, yes, and how much like beasts they had become. Combined, united against the Jedi, they command legions of Sith. But above these legions there are 3 who must be stopped. As long as any one of them lives, then we, and all life, are doomed. One bathes in pain, feeds on it for sustenance. The other has ceased being a living being, so consumed by hunger that he has forgotten his own flesh. And the last is a creature of betrayals, for without such things there is no hope. He, if he can truly be called a man any longer, is one of the dark. He spared the Miraluka, and that may have been the last shred of feeling that exists within him. Keep his slave close to you. I suspect there was a reason he spared her, and perhaps a reason that she survived when the rest of her people and the Jedi did not. One cannot have power of that magnitude that her master possesses and still think and perceive the universe as we do, as most of us do. I had hoped that you would not have to confront him, but her presence here has changed all that. You will have to meet him in battle. You must be prepared to sacrifice the blinded one. Perhaps her death will buy you the time you need to deal with her master. Perhaps he is bound to her, as I am. You must be prepared to sacrifice the blinded one. Perhaps then you have a chance, without her death. It is a technique that is almost as old as the Sith themselves. It is a means of severing connections between life, the Force, and feeding upon the death it causes. It cannot be taught. It can only be gained through it. Yes, and he fed upon its destruction. It will sustain him for a time. Because it is not something that can ever truly be controlled, and it leaves nothing to conquer in its wake. And it rules him, not the other way around. It has its own will, its own instincts. Perhaps he is bound to her. You must be prepared. Power? You would be wrong. There is no strength in the hunger he possesses, and the will, and it devours him as he devours others. His mere presence kills all around him, slowly feeding him. He is already dead. It is simply a question of how many he kills before he falls. Nothing is impossible with the Force. It is and like energy, it may be harnessed, channeled, and do not think of his power as one would a weapon, or one of your warships of the Republic. It is terrible, but it is still a subtle thing. The sect of assassins that chase you feed on the Force. And that is why they and their techniques must be wiped out. As much as one may use the Force to bolster the wills and strengths of others, the reverse, instead of sending one's will through connections in the Force, instead such connections are drawn upon, fed upon, and drained completely. Then you understand how terrible it is. An empty road to the dark side. He is a breach in the Force. It is not something he can direct or focus, much like hunger itself. He is Force sensitives, and worlds rich in the Force draw him. That is why where the Jedi gather, Jedi will die. He will feel it, unless they mask their presence. But Katar called out as a beacon to him, and he could not resist it. And he cares nothing for the Sith, or its teachings, or the Jedi. And when the Jedi are dead, he will feed on the galaxy, the Republic, and eventually consume the Sith as well. There is no future in the empty galaxy he sees, and that is why he must be stopped. The breach must be sealed before his power grows beyond what even we can hope to stop. Ask.
What have you brought me? The fact we are even having a conversation is gratitude. And of course, there is much more. There are several factors. There is the stabilization of Dantooine, the preservation of the restoration efforts on Telos, the destruction of my yacht and of all my activities on not. But perhaps the offer of credits will spur you to act quicker, for every system you stabilize. Compassion and mercy. There is the stabilization of Dantooine. Dantooine is a vital. If its stability is compromised, then the Republic will lose. The economic loss from such outer worlds is greater. Onderon is an outer rim world, rich in ecological resources. It is currently experiencing a political schism split between two forces. Dantooine is a vital. If its stability is compromised, then the Republic will lose. The economic loss from such outer worlds is great. Onderon, Telos is instrumental to the stability of the Republic. It's, of course, since the destruction of the Paragus facility, Of course it was. If you had simply surrendered to the Sith, then I hope you do not decide that the next thing that must be perhaps one must ask themselves at what point defending your as long as your defense does not exterminate more than 50. Then stop causing events of planetary destruction. You may. Now, that would be. It has been assigned to guard and protect you. It is skilled in intimidation, interrogation, and can. For the most part, it will follow your orders unless they. Then its proton core will detonate, turning this ship into space dust. This unit comes with a droid scrambler that you use it, and it will cause droids to wage a its power source is not. In addition, this unit comes equipped with a portable cloaking. How droll. What an. The assassin droids. Why, I asked them to. To be honest, I believe that was always their. If you mean produced, no, I do not. I do know that there are a surprising number scattered throughout the Republic fleet searching. Of course they are. They're droids with very specific. Unless you shut them down at the source, they will be stalking you. Why don't you ask their predecessor, that archaic memory impair? They are masquerading as protocol droids. I have discovered that when they are used in negotiations, they. Because the Republic has no reason to investigate otherwise, and because their behavior is predictable, of course. By monitoring their presence, I know which worlds will suffer civil wars, planetary conflicts, and Republic bombardment. Of course they are. They're droids. Unless you shut them down at the source, they will be. Why do A common misconception. Revan did not intend to destroy the Republic. He delivered. I believe. And that is between you.
Something up? All right. Yeah, well, maybe it's better that. All right.
Another visitor? You must be here to join in the plunder of the old Jedi Enclave. You have to see Administrator Adari first. You're one of the salvagers, right? Your ship looks banged up enough to be part of that lot, but you look different. Have you taken a look at your ship recently? It looks like it's been chewed up and spit out by a Wookiee. Twice. But you're the boss, so your ship is in just great shape. You really don't look like a salvager, though. Why did you come here? We get a lot of that here, too. Ever since the Enclave got slagged, seems half the people that visit are smugglers or worse. You probably... Kunda is the big building just outside the landing port. It used to be the estate of a man named Matali, but he and his family disappeared around the time of the bombardment. The administrator rebuilt it, and now this is our center of... I know it doesn't look like much, but there aren't many settlers that live on this planet. This building is the start of something new for us. We're very We're working on it. Is there... She was the agricultural administrator of Dantooine. After the Sith attack, we had problems with Mandalorian mercenaries even before the Jedi Civil War. The Jedi helped clear most of the problem up, but after the war, many soldiers from both sides of the conflict became mercenaries. And since we're so far from the core, some started gathering here. The difference between an out-of-work mercenary and a raider is a vibroblade's edge. The only thing we can prove they've done is intimidate a few farmers. The farmers give them goods, money, or food just to stay on their good side. The only one that isn't scared of them is the administrator. There have also been a lot of disappearances recently, and not all of them can be blamed on Cath hounds. But nobody can prove the mercenaries are responsible. A farmer here and there, or a family. We lost enough people during the war that keeping the... So there are a lot of animal attacks. Some deaths, too. The disappearances might be just coincidence, but a lot of the stubborn folk seem to be more accident-prone. Have you ever sliced a Jedi security door? The old ruins are secure from salvagers unless they get permission from Adare. Just head into the building and you'll find your way to the administrator. I'll be over by the entrance if you need anything else.